The Michael movie just made $500 million. But who really owns Michael Jackson? Let me get straight to it. The Michael movie just crossed roughly $500 million globally, $500 million, off a man who's been gone for over a decade. So here's the question I want to pose, very directly. Was Michael Jackson the greatest entertainer ever, or the greatest asset ever created? Because those are not the same thing. Now, the film focuses on something very real. You see a young Michael Jackson pushing back against his father, Joe Jackson, and an industry that didn't initially want to give him full access. And yes, that part is accurate. There was a time when MTV wasn't exactly checking for black artists in heavy rotation. Michael had to force his way into that system. But here's the thing. That's only half the story. Michael Jackson didn't just fight for visibility. He eventually figured out something most artists never figure out. Visibility is not power. Ownership is power. See, early Michael is about access. Get on MTV, break into pop radio, crossover globally. That's the fight you see in the film. But later, Michael, that's a completely different animal. In 1985, Michael Jackson makes one of the most important business moves in entertainment history. He buys the ATV Music Publishing catalog. Let me translate that into plain English. He bought the rights to songs that other people made famous, including, yes, the Beatles catalog. That means every time those songs played, licensed, or used commercially, Michael Jackson got paid. Let that sit for a second. He didn't just make hits. He owned the hits that made other people rich. Later, that catalog merges with Sony into Sony/ATV. Now, you're not just talking about music. You're talking about one of the most powerful publishing assets in the world. Now, here's where the story gets uncomfortable. Because at the same time Michael was building this empire, he was also spending heavily, borrowing aggressively, and leveraging those same assets as collateral. So you had a situation where Michael Jackson owned billions, but was borrowing against it to live. That's not uncommon, by the way. A lot of wealthy people do this. But the difference is structure. And Michael, genius that he was, did not always operate with disciplined financial structure. Now we have to address the other piece. The controversies, allegations, legal battles, media attacks. And here's the reality. No spin, no fluff. Those issues damaged Michael Jackson the person, but they did not destroy Michael Jackson the asset. The music kept selling. The catalog kept generating. And now, a $500 million film proves something very important. The IP survived everything. That's not normal. Most careers don't survive one scandal. Michael's brand absorbed multiple shocks and still monetizes globally. So what's the takeaway here? Because this is where BWO comes in. Michael Jackson proved two things at the highest level. One, you can fight your way into the system too. You can learn to own parts of that system. But he also showed something else. If you don't structure, protect, and manage that ownership, the system can still outmaneuver you. So when you look at this $500 million movie, don't just see nostalgia, don't just see legacy, see infrastructure, see ownership, see what happens when creativity meets capital, but doesn't fully lock in control. Because at the end of the day, Michael Jackson wasn't just a performer, he was a case study. And the real question isn't just, was he the greatest entertainer? The real question is, who ultimately profits from the greatest entertainer